Hi there and good morning. This is the Dzhumaev Premature casting trap. It's in the open variation of the Spanish and it's from Uzbek GM Marat Dzhumaev's 2004 game against Dzhumaev. So e4 and e5, knight f3, knight f6 defends the pawn on e5, bishop b5 is the Spanish a6, the bishop retreats to a4 and knight f6. White castles, offering up the pawn on e4, which is duly taken in the Spanish open variation. White strikes at the center, d4, that's thought to be preferable slightly over rook e1 immediately. b5 sends the bishop back to b3, and now the knight is supported by d5. White takes the pawn now on e5, and bishop e6 supports the pawn on d5. White can try knight b d2, and in this very common position, black has four main moves here. Knight c5 is one, bishop e7, knight takes on d2, or the move we're looking at now, bishop to c5. And now white has many options. White can actually take on e4, can play c3, or can move the queen to either e1 or e2, usually with the same consequence. So we're looking at queen e1, after which black takes on d2. And in this rather interesting position here, the obvious move would be to take back with the bishop. However, queen takes d2 is a very trappy move. It has its merits because black can certainly fall for a very simple trap now by playing the obvious move to castling, which actually here is wrong. Better would be queen d7. If black castles, this is premature castling, white's last move, queen capturing on d2, allows now queen c3, and all of a sudden black in serious trouble. The bishop being targeted, as is the knight behind it on c6. When the queen defends with queen e7, that allows bishop g5, hitting the queen, pretty much forcing f6. White can take there on f6, which opens now the e-file. So after white takes on f6, g takes on f6, the bishop drops back to e3, confronting the bishop, the pinned bishop, on c5. Well, if black takes, then black's losing. Bishop takes e3, loses immediately to queen takes on c6. The bishop's still hanging there on e3. If it runs back to b6, then one of the rooks comes to the e-file here, rook a e1, hitting the bishop on e6. And if black defends with rook e8, here rook f e8, then a simple tactic, rook takes on e6 is winning for white, since if queen takes on e6, bishop takes on d5 is picking up the queen. Going back, after white has played bishop e3, we've just shown that black can't capture bishop takes on e3. If instead d4, then white will find himself a clear pawn up after knight takes on d4, knight takes on d4, bishop takes on d4. Everything gets swapped off, bishop takes on d4 and queen takes on d4. And white, a clear pawn ahead, should press, try to win this position. In the game itself, Dzhumaev against Dzhumaev, the game ended in a peaceful draw when white happily agreed a draw in this position, although objectively white is obviously considerably better. So this has been the Dzhumaev Premature casting trap in the open variation of the Spanish. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.